With that being said, we're going to move on to the main event. Talking about Ilia Topuria a minute ago. He vacated the featherweight title. He's going to move up. So this was vacant and open for Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopes. Now going into this one, I felt like this might have been a passing of the torch. Talked about Pimblett building up a star. I thought maybe this is where my mind was, that this was the passing of the torch to Diego Lopes. He's won 5 in a row in the UFC. He's been on a hot streak. Volkanovski coming off some tough fights and losses, 36 years old now. And boy, was I wrong. Alexander Volkanovski shows why he is so great. Just fought a beautiful masterpiece. I mean, boxed, striking, just patient, just disciplined. And he closed the show, I thought, the right way in the 5th round. He needed it on one of the scorecards. I didn't see it that close, but regardless, in the end, gets back the featherweight championship, back in the win column. What'd you think of this one and the great Alexander Volkanovski?
Yeah, we did the live stream and we did the commentating on it. So, of course, we had the volume turned off for the great commentary. And the UFC guys are great. They really are. Sometimes the boxing guys aren't always up to snuff. Some of them are. But the UFC guys, they are. You got experts. You got guys that really know what the freak they're talking about. They do a hell of a job. So I couldn't hear them. I could only go by what I saw and what I put together in my mind. And it started, or it ended, with what I'm going to just touch on real quick, the decision. I just didn't see a fight that close. I could have saw a shutout, but I definitely could have saw 4-1. I just didn't see. I don't know how those great commentators, DC and Rogan and Anik and, all of them, and afterwards.
Well, not to cut you off, I will say this. The second round I could understand. Maybe he steals the round, Lopes, right?
With the knockdown?
Yeah, right before the bell. Like you said, we weren't.
I don't think so. I think he did enough before that to win that round, even with the knockdown. I get it. I get what you're saying. I thought he did enough. But maybe the 4th round, I thought that maybe that round Lopes grabs. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Rogan, from what I read, because we weren't listening to the commentary, he had a 2-2 going into the 5th. What we talked about during the live stream and to that point, and I was shocked by Volkanovski, only minus 200 live betting going into the final round, where we both thought, hey, he's well ahead, and Lopes needs probably a knockout to win this. So
it shows you that the bookmakers, they know what they're doing. They know what they always have a pulse on what the frick's going on. They don't make money in that business because they're stupid. They always know what they're doing. But I did not think it was, ended up 3-2. I thought it was 4-1, possibly 5-0, but probably 4-1. But either way, I concur with you. I thought that Volkanovski put on a clinic, a master clinic, a boxing clinic. And he showed you can be the shorter guy and you can outbox taller guys. And there's different ways to do it. It's knowing what you're doing and knowing what those ways are. When you fight a taller guy, one of the things you have to deal with as the shorter guy is how do I get the range that I need with shorter arms and shorter height to land with a taller guy? And there's a couple ways. Most people think it's just being aggressive. But no, they're wrong. And Volkanovski showed you the options. He showed you those other ways. There's a lot of ways. And one of those ways is to get your taller opponent to give up his height. To get him to give up his height by using your legs, by controlling range on the outside, by not forcing something because you are shorter, by not getting desperate, by not getting overly anxious and overly aggressive or recklessly aggressive. That if you even are short and you know how to use your legs, he did a lot of times guys don't get a credit for showing good legs unless they're boxing like Muhammad Ali. He showed great legs. He moved out. He moved to the side just enough where he was controlling distance in a way where he was dictating the kind of fight it was going to be. He was dictating and making Lopes do what he wanted him to do. I said it during our broadcast. He was the ocean, and he made Lopes the log. You always want to be the ocean. You don't want to be the log. The log gets thrown up on a freaking beach at the end of the day. It gets tossed up, sometimes up against the rocks. The log gets pushed out by the ocean and gets pulled in by the ocean. At the end of the day, the log is controlled by the ocean. Volkanovski was the ocean. And that was my analogy. And to me, that it was so evident. He pushed him back when he wanted to. He pulled him in when he wanted to. And he showed the different ways to take away the advantage of a taller guy being tall. He drew him in to give up his height, give up his reach. And when he drew him in, what did he do? He countered him with right hands. Beautifully. He drew him in. Lopes drew the jab now from too close with the shorter man. If he drew it from farther out, the counter would not have been there. But he came in aggressive because of the leg movement of Volkanovski. He got him to come in, Lopes to come in. And then what did he do? He countered up top. When Lopes drew the jab, he countered with the right hand over it because he had the position he needed to be the better guy. And then all of a sudden, the shorter guy who has a disadvantage with the shorter arms and the height on the outside, he's got an advantage on the inside because his arms are shorter. They will get there faster. They will get there more compactful. And that's what he did all night. And how did he land that right hand up top? He gave a little dip, a little science, little bit of a subtle, smart little maneuver. A little dip, bop. A little dip here, bop. Just to change levels, to change the eye level of Lopes to look here and not here. And not see this. Just see this, not see this. He did it all night. And Lopes didn't adjust to it. He didn't come up with the counter to that. He just kept trying to press the gas, when he needed to press the gas. And then there was spots where Lopes became a little tentative on the outside because he knew he was walking in. So that was his answer. Be a little conservative, be a little tentative. Don't just walk in. And what happened when he did that? Volkanovski knew what to do. He jabbed. He pot shotted. He beat him to the mark. He got off first. He caught his stationary guy waiting, being tentative on the outside, and he just beat him to the punch and then moved again. And then drew him in again. And then counted again. I mean, it was beautiful. It was really science. It was beautiful, but forget UFC, the JFC, Bull FC, ZFC, whatever channel you listen to. Call it whatever you want. That, for me, was beautiful fighting. Beautiful boxing. It really was. And he even mixed it up with a little inside stuff when he went for the takedowns just to keep Lopes guessing. To keep him a little off balance. He never let Lopes get comfortable. He never let Lopes really fight his fight. He made Lopes fight the fight all night long that he should not have fought, that Volkanovski wanted him to fight. And Volkanovski did. He reminded me of the great Customato. We were ready to write him off a little bit, but he only lost to great fighters. And there was extenuating circumstances in those losses. There was. He went up in weight in the first one. Then he took a fight on quick notice. In the other one,
very short notice.
And then he took a fight with the great Topuria of too quick off of that.
4-month turnaround.
Yeah, 4-month turnaround. So there was extenuating circumstance that could explain it a little bit. Here was the thing that I was pretty sure of. He wasn't used up. He wasn't shop worn. He wasn't physically, diminished. That he wasn't. It was more of a case, was he going to be mentally right? Was he going to be the Volkanovski that used to be, the confident, the hungry, the guy that fought with a smartness, but also that fire, that urgency? He made a lot of money. Was that going to be gone? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. And when you answered no on those questions, Lopez had a problem. That because they wanted this to be the fight for Lopez to see if he could go to the throne, if he could be that next star. And this was the one that was going to tell. Is he ready to be that? He's not quite ready. It doesn't mean he won't be, because he did himself proud enough. It doesn't mean he won't be. But no, that was what this fight was about. Could Volkanovski pull together again and be what he used to be? And could Lopez take that step and become that guy? And this was the guy that was waiting for him, for everybody to see if he could get past that guy. Then we will say, okay, Lopez, you're the next guy. But he couldn't get past that guy. And what I started to say, and I'll finish with, is what Customato, the great Customato, told me. Teddy, be careful. When you got a former champion and he goes through a bad patch, that's Volkanovski, by the way. When he goes through a bad patch and he's lost a few fights, and you start to write him off, be careful. Be careful. Because on one given night, he might remember that he used to be a champion. He might remember that he used to be a champion and he wants to be a champion again on one night. And if he remembers that, you're going to get that old guy that you thought wasn't there no more. And that's what you got. And that's what I got. I'm out.